This is the solution video for Unit 7 review, problem number 12. All right, so I have the integral from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2 of sine of x over 1 plus cosine x. All right, so first thought for people is that u is equal to 1 plus cosine x, right? So if that is the case, du is, well, derivative of 1 is 0, derivative of cosine is negative sine of x dx, right? And so it looks like you have the integral of 1 over u times sine x dx. So you would need a negative 1 with the sine and a negative 1 on the outside. And then we would be integrating from x equals negative pi over 2 to x equals positive pi over 2, right? So now I have negative 1 integral of 1 over u du. And so now what is u when x is pi over 2? Well, 1 plus the cosine of pi over 2. Cosine of pi over 2, well, is 0. So this is just 1, right? So our upper limit becomes 1. And then I have what is u when x is negative pi over 2. And all right, so if I do that, I get 1 plus the cosine of negative pi over 2. And the cosine of negative pi over 2 is 0. So the lower limit becomes 1 as well. And so we get 1, right? And so it's important to note that if I'm integrating from 1 to 1, right, no matter what's going on in here, this integral should be 0, right? Because when I plug in, right, well, or when I integrate, I get 1 over u, the natural log of the absolute value of u, right? And then we're going to evaluate that from 1 to 1. Of course, I get negative 1 times the natural log of 1 minus negative 1 times the natural log of 1, right? Of course, these subtract out, right, and get 0, right? But you could have just gone from the very beginning and realized that sine of x over 1 plus cosine x is an odd function, right? Because remember, an odd function is one where f of negative x is equal to the opposite of f of x. And so the sine of negative x over 1 plus cosine of negative x is equal to the opposite of sine of x, right? Because sine is an odd function and cosine is an even function. So the bottom would just be 1 plus cosine x. So this is an odd function. So you could have gotten that it is 0 right off the bat because for an odd function, the integral from negative a to positive a of f of x dx will always be 0.